was depressing doing this. I'm not gonna lie, and I decided I was gonna punt tonight. I'm totally letting you guys do all the grading. I'm not even gonna put my name on it, because it probably wouldn't be pretty. But let's start. We'll go ahead and go offense first, and we'll go with Chris, then Corey, then Jr. We'll just go in alphabetical order.
Okay.
Offense, passing yards 221, rushing yards 64 for a total of 285 yards of offense yesterday.
Mhm.
6.1 yards per play, 11 first downs. Buckle up for this one, guys.
1 for 10.
Third down efficiency was 1 of 10. Fourth down efficiency was 1 of 2, and that first fourth down attempt was awful play call. Time of possession was 24 minutes and 53 seconds and 1 turnover. Chris, your offensive letter grade.
I've been flipping back and forth between a C minus and a D plus, man.
Okay, D,
I'm
D plus it is.
I'm going to go with the D plus.
You would.
Offensive line play terrible. You talked about the third down efficiency. 10% is absolutely unacceptable. We did have an interception. Will Howard accounted for every yard of offense except for 50 yards. Everything else was Will Howard. You can't win a game like that. Uh, you know, we failed in the running game. Uh, we did have the pick, and then the other thing that just drove me nuts was Will Howard's first touchdown. I think was it Carnell Tate, which
Hmm.
was the most awkward looking long pass I have ever seen in my life. As Tate just kind of stands there and almost like he's
Tate.
fielding a punt.
No,
Mm.
he boxed out the
Yes,
quarterback. He
he
boxed him out
boxed
in
out the
midair. It
cornerback.
was a
Yeah,
really good catch.
no, the catch was great,
Yeah.
but what was with the pass? Yeah, I got to go D plus. It was not impressive, even though I did love Howard's game yesterday. I love what he brought
Corey.
to the table for the most part.
I'm going D minus. Reason why it's not an F is because they won. That's the only reason. Uh, Offensive line. Look, you had 2 weeks to prepare for this game. There is no excuse for this. None whatsoever. I get it. You have a new left tackle. He didn't even. He looked like he never played football before, ever, and he's been there 4 years. This is pathetic. Running game, which we were all excited about going into the season, is getting worse as we go in as it is season. Howard, I never thought Howard would have to be our savior. I always thought he was going to be one of those guys, a facilitator to our weapons, and he does that. I like Howard. I'm not knocking him at all. I gave him a B plus. The interception takes him down from an A, but
Mm-hmm.
I gave him a B plus. The rest, Carnell Tate played well. The receivers played pretty well. Other than that, the rest of the offense just burn the playbook and start over, or burn the game plan, I should say, and start over. That offensive line just looked comical. I don't know what the play calling was. I don't know what we were doing most of the time. 2 weeks to prepare for Nebraska. And I understand Nebraska's a solid team, but come on. This is the worst you've looked all season. You're getting worse, progressively worse as you go. Yet Howard is keeping that sinking ship from completely going under. And it makes no sense with the weapons you have. I understand Jimmy, Josh, whatever they call it, Simmons is a massive loss, but to have zero contingency plan for an injury is ridiculous and on the coaching. So D minus, but only because they won.
Um, man, I thought I would be the lowest one. I'm gonna go D plus, simply because I do appreciate that there were long balls thrown. Even though the one to Carnell Tate was not exactly thrown super well, they at least threw them. And I thought the ball to Jeremiah Smith was thrown very
Great.
well. That's a good piece there. And but for the most part, I mean, Will Howard, like you guys said, I did question his decision making a little bit in this game. Why in the world he threw that screen pass to Travion Henderson? I don't know if that was Chip Kelly just didn't give him the option or what, but that screen pass to Travion Henderson when there were literally no linebackers in the game, I mean, you're a veteran fifth year quarterback. Like, that's complete malpractice by Chip Kelly if he's not allowing him to, check out of that when you see all of the linebackers go to the one side as Trayvon Henderson motions out. So I didn't get that, but at the end of the day, they did what they had to do to win. Like, even though Quinshon Judkins couldn't run anywhere, they still found a way to get him involved in the passing game. I mean, he scored that game-winning touchdown and caught the ball. So, I mean, I don't know. It was such a crazy, weird experience, and so crazy the way everything was happening, and guys running into referees and everything. It was just super, super weird. But at the end of the day, I have to believe things would have been better if you would have had a left tackle in there that didn't make it Will Howard feel like his clock was 1 second every single play.
I'd never seen Will Howard all year run for his life like he did yesterday. He
Yeah.
was running for his life quite a bit.
Well, and that's the thing. Like the pressures that came on Will Howard, all of them in the first half were bad. Like it led to a scramble for 2 yards where I think Will Howard got hit on that play. It led to a fumble, and it led to, correct me if I'm wrong, but one of them also led to a sack. Like pressures are not always a bad thing if you can keep the guy away enough and just let the pressure be there a little bit. But Zen wasn't doing that. Zen, if they got pressure, Zen was nowhere to be found.
Donald and Karen Rosbach. Why on 3rd and 1 is Howard in a shotgun, not under center, getting the first down?
That's a great question.
And
4th
why?
and 1 too. 4th and 1. Why are we
fourth-
throwing an out route to
This
Mekabuka?
guy gets the yard every time, it seems.
Why don't we have if we're gonna hand it off on
Just
4th
sneak
down?
it. It's more
Why
effective.
don't you have a lead blocker?
Or sneak it.
Put that
Absolutely
comment by
correct.
Prentice up there. They
Yeah.
did that with CJ Stroud so much, and they're not doing it with Will Howard right now.
He's
Prentice
100%
is
correct. Yep.
He's 100% right.
Yep.
He's Shane Falco right now. He really is. He's Shane Falco. He's got to move. He's got to run for his life and move that pocket, or else they're going to kill him.
Speaking of replacements, all right, here we go. Let's go with defense now, defense. We allowed 152 passing yards to Dylan Raiola and 121 rushing yards, many of which were to Dylan Raiola, for a total of 273 yards allowed, 4.1 yards per play. They gave up 18 first downs and 5 of 16 on 3rd down, and fourth down efficiency 0-1. It was a great 4th down stop on the line. 35 minutes and 7 seconds time of possession for Nebraska. We are lucky we didn't get gassed at the end of that game. We kept talking about that, Corey, how this defense looked gassed. 1 turnover. That was the big one at the end of the game to secure the victory. Chris, your defensive letter grade.
I'm going to go B+. I thought they did do much better getting pressure on the quarterback. I love the fact that we had 13 tackles for loss. We got a turnover. I love the fact that I saw Kenyatta Jackson in the game for a change.
He played well.
He played very well. The fact that we got some of those other guys in the game, I think, is probably the only saving grace for why we weren't completely dead on our feet after 38 minutes of Nebraska football. So that was a positive. I couldn't give them an A. I thought there was too many big runs, especially by the quarterback. Linebackers, I think, were out of position a little bit again. And the penalties, man. Igbinosin, I love his aggressiveness. I love it, but he has got to learn to play a little less handsy. Because the more and more, they're starting to watch for it now, and he's going to get flagged for it more and more. So, B+.
I'm going to go B-. They got the win. The one thing I hate in any level of football is when there's an obvious problem and the coaches say, yeah, we know there's a problem, and then they say they worked on it, and you see the exact same thing the next week. To the staff's credit, Ryan Day's credit, I'll give them this. They saw a problem with the pressure, and they clearly addressed it. I'm not saying it means anything going forward, but it's a sign they saw something was wrong and started to work on it, because we did see a lot more pressure and a lot more blitz packages, things like that. That being said, Dylan Raiola helped save the defense this game by being wildly inaccurate down the field. One guy streaking down the side, wide open, remind me of Michigan 22, wide open. He just misses him. The guy in the corner end zone, Jermaine Matthews, falls down wide open, just misses him. We lose the game if he completes one of those, So, I mean, Raiola wasn't great. He really wasn't. I mean, even when he had time. So I look at it as we played better on defense than we did against Oregon, We got the win. We did some good things. 13 tackle locks, like Chris brought up. 3 sacks. Sniffing out every screen pass they try was hilarious to me. They kept trying it. It's like we sniffed every one of them. But again, at the end of the day, if Dylan's a little bit accurate, we lose the game. So I can't, in good conscience, give him even a high B because Nebraska kind of helped us a little bit. So B-.
Yeah, I was told I was a little too critical in the Ohio State post-game show of the defense because, Ryan Day was praising them after the game, but C- because Jack Sawyer played 64 snaps in this game. Tyleik Williams played 61 snaps in this game. Ty Hamilton played 60. JT Tuimoloau played 58. Guys, Caden McDonald only played 9 snaps. Last game, I got it.
Hey, how many snaps did Kenyatta Jackson play?
15.
He looked good. He did good yesterday.
He was
He
the
needs to be
second
in at
highest
least
rated.
25 snaps a game.
He was the second highest rated player on PFF in third highest in all of the defense for Ohio State. Second highest was Caden Curry, and he played 9 snaps. So
This is making me sick.
I don't know what in the world. I appreciate so much with Larry Johnson and what he's done with guys like Chase Young and Joey Bosa, but the dude doesn't have it. Larry Johnson is washed. Guys, he doesn't trust his guys,
Right.
and he's got this favoritism for Jack Sawyer and JT Tuimoloau. That's killing him right now because when JT and Jack are fresh, they're playing much better. But when you're putting them out there, they're playing more snaps than Cody Simon. They're playing more snaps than Jordan Hancock. And I know Jordan Hancock was kind of doing some different stuff with that safety position. And, you had Lorenzo Styles and different guys in there doing that stuff. But still, you should not have a defensive lineman, even with switching some stuff out, you should not have a defensive lineman playing more snaps than your DBs. It doesn't make any sense. More snaps than Cody Simon, Jordan Hancock, Jermaine Matthews Jr., Lorenzo Styles. I know those guys are kind of swapping in and out, but you got to swap out the defensive line. You have to get Caden Curry. You have to get Kenyatta Jackson in there more. Caden McDonald plays his butt off every single snap, and the dude is super impactful, super good in the run game. You want to know why that Dowdell or whatever didn't get in on the goal line stop? It was because of Caden McDonald. Now, Cody Simon came in with a nice play, dragging the legs back, and credit to Davis and Minosin meeting him at the top too. But the reason why there wasn't any push by the offensive line there was because of Caden McDonald, and he needs to play more, and that gets these guys more reps. And I'm completely in agreement with you, Cory, that there were too many times the secondary was falling down and wide receivers were running wide open. They never adjusted to the pick plays. They never single time adjusted. They were just running pick plays the entire game. Were we just waiting for the referees to call something? I don't know. At a certain point, Jim Knowles, you have to take it into your own hands. You have to call better plays out there. You have to adjust your DBs in such a way. It's just... And yeah, the Arvell Reese thing. I'm going to blow a gasket if I get on the Arvell Reese thing. But it just, this defense, they only allowed 17 points, but it feels like they should have allowed 40.
JR, I don't know how much you can reveal of your knowledge on this, but Sean's pushing back a little bit, saying it's not LJ that's not making those rotations, it's Jim Knowles.
LJ's in charge of the rotations, not Jim Knowles. LJ's in charge of it.
Yeah, position coach is usually in charge.
That's how positions coaches work.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
LJ is the problem. I stand on that hill. I will.
And you're right.
I like you, Sean. I'm not trying to get in an argument with Sean, but every single position coach is in charge of the rotations for their players.
Yeah, I'm
Does
standing
Jim
with JR
Knowles
on
have
that one.
veto power though?
Ryan Day and Larry Johnson have been in a fight on the sideline every single of the past 4 games. Ever since Michigan State, they have gotten into a fight on the sideline about rotations.
You saw JT yelling at somebody on the sideline when he got a sack. Maybe it was LJ,
Yeah.
I'm not sure, but he was
Right.
If I'm a lip reader, I think he's saying "I told you" or something like
Yeah.
that.
Ryan Day has been arguing with LJ on the sideline, and it appears to be about rotations. It's been going on for the past 4 games. It's happened every single game. Why is Ryan Day not getting his way? Why?
Because he.
I don't know. I don't get it.
He lacks the testicular fortitude to stand up to his coaches.
I mean, from what I was told, he
Sean is saying
F-bombed Larry
Kenyatta's
pretty
dad said
hard.
it was
Like,
Knowles. I'm kind of curious about that, but I
Yeah.
mean,
He was Kenyatta's dad was on has been on with a couple times with the Buckeye boys, and I haven't seen that, Sean, but I trust that you're telling me that he was talking about rotations, and that was what he had stated. That's why I asked the veto question. I don't know. The issue, we covered this on our members only video, Chris and I did. There's a major issue, and the issue has gone on now for how many years? At
Since
least
Knowles got there.
3.
and it's
Ryan,
complete malpractice if you have to have your defensive coordinator from the box run the rotations of your position group. What in the world are we doing?
That's a good
from the
point.
box, you're running rotations.
Here's the thing. It's to the point where if they can't get it together, they both need to go. It's that simple. Because they're dragging down these kids who are capable of doing more. This is no longer a talent issue. I put these games, these close games, these losses over the last couple of years solely on the coaching staff at this point. It's not on the players at this point.
Who's Brett?
I believe the players are doing
Kenyatta Jackson's dad.
Oh,
I believe the players are doing what they are told to do.
Oh yeah.
Well, yeah, of
And
course they are.
it is a coaching issue at this point, from the top right on down.
Well, listen, I'm not trying to chat. We're not trying to make this a JR knows and Kenyatta Jackson knows thing. Like the issue is they're not all on the same page, right?
Yes.
Whether
fair.
whether it's Larry Johnson, whether it's Jim Knowles, whether it's Ryan Day trying to say, hey, why aren't you guys doing this? And he's not getting his way. There's an issue there, and the issue has bled over onto the field. And I believe you are right, Cory, that JTT's reaction on that sack was an expression of frustration coming out. There's something else that's being done defensively that is ticking me off, and it's now costing us. They have moved the defensive end so far out
Yes.
on the line. If the linebackers aren't planted in the middle of the field the entire time, the middle of the field is wide open. And those linebackers are getting moved based on the defense we're playing simply by motions being made by the offense. That run Dylan Riola had, go back and watch
Yes.
that.
was
There's
going
no
to say
one
that.
in the middle of the field. He could have sat down, took a dump, wiped his butt, and still ran for 25 yards. Nobody there. I cannot, for the life of me, understand why our defensive lines are so far outside.
You've got that.
We
You got
make
corners
They
playing
want a
10 yards back
containment.
there.
I understand the idea is to create containment, but guys, like you can still do that without being out there holding hands with the cornerback, man.
Mhm.
My gosh,
I actually think that was probably their answer to try to get pressure on the quarterback was
Well-
put him out wide because neither one of them are speed rushers, so they're trying to give him an advantage on the outside over the tackle. But it doesn't. It obviously we're going to give up big plays if we do that. So it's either containment or we try to get to the quarterback. It's like we can't do both for some reason.
Hey, Eric, they're not holding hands with the corners. The corners are playing 10 to 15 yards off the receiver. So
not Iggy's not.
And the pick
no,
plays, they
he's firmly got his hand up the receiver's backside on every play.
Does it really matter how far or close Denzel Burke plays on anybody? He can't cover everybody downfield.
Denzel Burke shouldn't be playing up on the line of scrimmage. Let's just
Not
be
anymore.
honest.
No, not getting beat like that.
Okay.
Problem is he's a good tackler on the line of scrimmage though too. So it's like you take
He
away
is.
one skill.
He can tackle.